What's up, you guys? Namicon here, bringing you my perspective as to what entertainment is bringing us, and welcome to another discussion video where I discuss various topics in with any sorts of media. But I'm not doing this alone. I got some of my returning peeps here, and we got and one of my returning peeps is Revan Evan. How are you doing today, Evan?
Just about fine. I next semester of college just started, and I feel pretty confident.
Yeah. College literally just started. Sounds about right.
Talk to is going to be
Yep.
terrible.
Yep. Good luck. And then another returning member is Carbs. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Glad to be back here with Basu, Revan Evan, and of course you, Namicon. Ready to get things started?
Yep. And last but not least is Basu himself. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I kind of just been chilling at home, just trying to recuperate, getting back into school, but I've been all right.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's get this started. So, as you seen from the title, we're going to talk about the future of Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'm going to start off with how we were introduced to the blue blur. So, how I was introduced to the blue blur was Sonic Mega Collection for the original version on the GameCube, by the way. So, I don't know if anyone calls it their first game, but that's how I discovered Sonic the Hedgehog. I played the original version. I remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 3, Knuckles, Dr. Robotnik's BP Machine as well. Yeah, and not only that, I also discovered other games. That's how I discovered Sonic Advance 2. That's also how I discovered Sonic Adventure 2 as well. It was thanks to Sonic Mega Collection. I was aware of the
Both
various
Advance
games.
Adventure 2, or is it just one of them you got mixed up?
I think it's Adventure 2 Battle or Advance 2. Yeah, I remember they had a
Okay.
teaser for they had a trailers for both of them, and they had both the intro and the outro for Sonic CD. I
Hey,
thought that
Ah.
yeah,
I'm making. Can you give me a second?
yeah, yeah, of course.
I need to. I need to transfer my audio. I'm going from my earbuds to my headset. Give me a second.
Yeah, of course, of course. Take
Okay.
your time. But regarding going through that, I didn't even know when I saw those intro that in those cutscenes. I thought they looked so cool. I thought they were. It was based on like an original TV show. It wasn't until years later that not only I discovered Sonic Gems Collection, I discovered that those cutscenes were from Sonic CD. And
Hey, can
I,
hey, can you guys hear me?
yeah, we can hear you. We
Okay.
can hear you.
Yes, we
I'm
can.
trying to be sure.
All right, it's true. And yeah, I discovered. And I also discovered that Sonic had comic books. So yeah, I discovered all sorts of. I discovered a lot of shit thanks to Sonic Mega Collection. I cannot think that game enough, honestly. All right, how about you, Evan? How did you discover Sonic?
Well, there were two very distinct events that really made me a Sonic fan. The first one was, okay, these were both back when I was a child, or very young, but the first of these is when, imagine this setup. You're a little around 7 years old or so, going around playing around friends' house, and Sonic Rush to play for a little bit. After that first couple or so levels, I was just completely hooked and couldn't really put the game down
I see.
until I got to around the fourth level and I got really frustrated.
I see. I
It
see.
wasn't until a couple of years later that I got a copy of it myself, played through the entirety of it, and just loved it for a long time. To the point where I got the other sort of Rush games there. I know everyone said I consider Colors DS to be sort of a Rush game, but I don't know anyone else does.
Hmm. Interesting. What was the second part?
It was when me and my brother went on a little family trip to our cousin's house, and they had a copy of the Wii version of Sonic Unleashed. which I had only heard about in rumors through about a couple of trailers and something. I never thought I could actually get to play it. And through seeing my cousins play through it right now, it blew my mind. Though I never actually got a copy of the game until many years later.
I see. And how about you, Carps?
Alrighty then. So, the first time I ever got introduced to Sonic the Hedgehog, the earliest memory I have of it was when I played on my PSP Sonic Rivals, the first game. That was PSP was one of the first consoles I ever owned. That and also the Game Boy Color, if I'm not incorrect. But I personally, as a child, preferred the PSP just because of how you could say it was more advanced, and because the game itself was more fun than most other games. Plus, the graphics were a little better, you could say, at its time. But yeah, Sonic Rivals was my first Sonic game that introduced me to the character. And I don't know, just the music itself and how the game played was fun. And then after searching it up more, I got introduced to the Sonic 06, which at the time I thought was a pretty good game, but nowadays it's not as good as I thought it was. But then Sonic Unleashed came out, and that was when my mind blew off. And honestly, Sonic Unleashed is probably one of my favorite Sonic games, also mostly due to the design of the Werehog and Sonic the Hedgehog. I was at that time where, as a child, just those, werewolves for me used to be very popular. But onwards, just Sonic the Hedgehog is probably one of my favorite video game characters of all time, and especially when I first got introduced to Super Smash Bros. Brawl was my first game, and when I saw Sonic in that game, I was very excited to see that the Blue Blur was in a fighting game with Mario.
Interesting. I'm actually going through Sonic 06. Fucking kill me, please. I want to commit seppuku.
No. We're not going to have you dead until you complete what you've started.
Yep. I was in third grade when Sonic was revealed in Brawl. Was revealed in Brawl. I didn't think too much of it as a child because I was also aware that there was Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. So I always thought that Sonic and Super Smash Bros. Brawl was like the next step. I didn't think I wasn't old enough. I was way too young to know how big of a deal that was. And how about
I
you?
just didn't really know that much about it because as a little kid, I didn't understand what intellectual property was, so I thought that this sort of crossover stuff happened all the time. That didn't take a lot of money and rights issues in order to actually make it happen.
Yeah, same here. All right, Phil. How were you introduced to the Blue Blur?
How was your day today?
Phil?
Give me a second.
All right.
Give a minute, guys.
All right, and all right. So after Sonic Mega Collection.
All right, I'm back.
All right. So how were you?
Okay, so like Namicon, I was also introduced to the Sonic franchise through Mega Collection, but I didn't really get truly invested into the Blue Blur until Sonic Adventure DX when I played it on my cousin's GameCube for the first time. And also, I'm pretty sure we might bring this up later on, but I actually am playing Sonic Frontiers in the background, so I think we'll cover that later on. I don't know, but for me, my introduction was through Mega Collection and through the adventure games, and I have a little bit of a storied history with the Blue Blur. I played through the adventure games, I played through the storybook games, I played through the spin-offs, like the racing games, like Sonic Riders, please bring it back, Sega, what are you doing? And yeah, I've pretty much been an avid Sonic fan. I wouldn't say a hardcore one. I don't say I don't go around defending every Sonic game. If I think there was criticism, it gets criticism. Case in point, Sonic 06 to an extent. I mean, I label it as it's so bad it's actually fun type of game because it's so easy to break it. But in terms of like the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, I honestly wouldn't be where I am as a person without Sonic. So I'm thankful for him.
Wow, that's a lot to get through. Well, honestly, like Sonic has been through has been through so many eras, but we don't even know if Sega will continue with those eras. But let's move on and let's talk about Sonic Prime, the newest TV show in the
Right.
Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. So, I
So
actually
who
just
here has
watched.
seen all of Sonic Prime?
Yeah, so I actually just watched all of the second season last night. It was really good. Like it was actually really good. So I think my criticism is the animation is kind of cheap. It looks like a video game, but I maybe that's the intent since Sonic is a video game franchise, but it does greatly make up for it by the animation being pretty very colorful and the action sequences being very cool to look at and being very stylish. I also really like the story. I'm not going to spoil the story, but I do. I am interested in what how the story progresses in for season three. Now, how about you, Evan? How you feeling
I
about Sonic
think
Prime?
that I honestly am having a really good time with the show from all that I've seen, which is both seasons so far. I do agree under criticisms of the animation there. It does look a little bit cheap, but then again, I don't know if they were given the biggest budget. It's actually very well stylized, in my opinion, with a lot of rather bright colors, really good looking action sequences, and I think I saw quite a few smear frames in there in order to add a little bit more fluidity to it. Don't have it be as rigid as, say, first season. I do understand. I actually do really like the story. With some of the concepts that it introduces, I don't think it does as much with it as it could have. Like with the whole shatter space, alternate universe sort of stuff. I feel like we could have seen a lot more than just the ones that were introduced here. I do kind of like that we're exploring a couple more of these in depth, but if they're a bit more interesting to look at, I would like it a little more. Because really all we have is just a jungle, an ocean, and random future city.
Mm, yeah. I kind of do wish they went more on the multiverse, but I think maybe just three separate places is sufficient for them. But anyways, how about you, Carbs? Have you seen Sonic Prime? If so, what did you think of it?
All right, so I have actually not seen Sonic Prime. Although I'm a Sonic fan, Sonic Prime for me at least did not seem that interesting. But seeing how the good reviews and you guys saying and talking about how good it is, I think I might have to give it a shot. Although I did have seen some clips of the show itself, and I do have to agree with y'all. The animation is kind of weird, but in all honesty, this animation is kind of better than the Sonic Boom series, or at least in my
Yeah, it's
opinion.
a lot of filtering.
I see.
Yeah, but there was in particular one clip of it that I saw that really that I really enjoyed, which was I don't know if you guys remember this, or I just remember seeing this one clip of Sonic fighting these like giant yellow robots, and the Sonic Prime animators recreating a specific scene or segment of Sonic fighting a robot, like how he was fighting a robot in Sonic Unleashed. And I just said, wow, these guys, they really just recreated that. And I just thought it was really cool. But I,
Interesting.
honestly, I've seen a lot of people react to the show itself and they say that the story is really good. And honestly, it's probably the best thing about Sonic that's come out in quite a few years, actually. At least that's what I've heard. So I might actually have to catch up on that show and watch the whole 2 seasons.
Interesting.
You really should. Your thing about the whole references there are quite a few of those sprinkled throughout the show. Like at one point, he just does the Sonic Adventure pose for literally no reason other than, "Hey, I recognize that," but it doesn't feel as intrusive as it could have.
Yeah, I also noticed that he did that pose too. Yeah, I don't know why he did that pose, but hey, he did it. But anyways, how about you, Bossu? Have you seen the show? If so, what did you think of it?
For me, I've only seen the first few episodes of Sonic Prime because when it initially first aired on Netflix, I wasn't really that interested, even though I actually am a fan of like Sonic TV media. Like I've watched Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, I've watched Sad AM, I've watched Sonic X. I actually recently rewatched Sonic X like from beginning to end a few years back before COVID. And I can definitely say that Sonic X has not aged that well, at least on the first half. The second half, it actually aged pretty good. But as for Sonic Prime, I definitely am gonna push against the grain, and I think I actually like the animation compared to what most people would say. I think it just needs time for it to grow on people, but for me, I actually do like the animation style. The story with like the whole multiverse thing, I'm not exactly a big fan of, but I'll have to see how it goes because I'm only a few episodes in, and yeah, I can imagine that they would throw in like all kinds of game references because like kind of going off topic and on a bit of a tangent, kind of because that's also what the Mario movie did. Like the Mario movie was catered mostly towards people who are fans of the Mario games. So I imagine that Sonic Prime would mostly cater to people who are fans of the Sonic games, and they'll try to like sprinkle in some references in there, be like, hey, I remember that from that game, and et cetera, et cetera. But I definitely need to continue on with the show and see where it goes from there. 'Cause I'm only a few episodes in. I finished the whole like Imperial City episode, and I'm on like the one with the jungle. So I don't know.
Oh, all right.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, we are gonna move on to Sonic Frontiers, the most
Ah,
recent
yes,
Sonic game.
the one I'm playing in the background right now. 'Cause I knew we were gonna
Yep.
cover it later.
On,
Well, this is going to be rather awkward because I have not played it, actually. I own a
un,
copy of it, but for surprisingly have not played it.
Unfortunately, I have not played it yet.
Yes,
So
you have, Darwin.
I have
Nomicon, yes, you have. Don't cap. You have
no
played
no
on
no.
my account.
I only for like a few minutes, but I don't think that's a good impression of what can I expect from Frontiers. But from what people are saying, it is a critical and a commercial success. It's like the best selling Sonic game in a long time. And from what people say, it's the best Sonic game since Mania, and it's the best 3D Sonic game since Generations.
Nomicon, like I'm actually playing the game right now, and I think I'm the only one out of the four of us that actually has like a good opinion on what I think about Sonic Frontier. So if I can like go on a bit of a tangent here,
Yeah, go ahead.
because for
If
Sonic
you can go
Frontier,
without spoilers, then sure.
I'll trust you. I will not say anything like spoiler related towards the story. Like
Okay.
I'm mostly just gonna talk about content and gameplay.
Of course.
Okay.
Because Sonic Frontiers I do not think is the best Sonic game since Mania. That is cap, and anyone who says otherwise they're kind of just lying to themselves. As for it being the best 3D Sonic game since Generations, kind of yeah. I mean, like we haven't really had like a banger 3D Sonic game since 2011. I mean, like the last one that people really think about is Generations, if not Unleashed, or at bare minimum Lost World, which I think is severely underrated. But that's just me.
Same.
Yeah, it's
But
supposedly
in
pretty
terms of
good if you ignore
content,
the
I
story.
really think that Sonic Frontiers is it's a really outstanding game in terms of what it's trying to accomplish because it's the first Sonic game that kind of takes it kind of just like because most Sonic games are kind of notorious for kind of holding your hand and making you just run down a hallway. Sonic Frontiers doesn't do that. It kind of just takes the training wheels off and say, hey, you want to go to that area? You can go there. Like you're not really restricted to how you actually play the game. You can play it how any way you want, and that's actually what I like about Sonic Frontiers. That it does something different compared to most Sonic games, where you're literally just running down a hallway. And another note, like it's actually also the first Sonic game since Unleashed that actually has a proper combat system, but it's not as in depth compared to Unleashed, because you're kind of limited with your combat abilities and your skill tree. It's quite small, like so much so that you actually can like get it maxed out before you even reach the third island. Also, spoilers: there are 5 islands, but really it's actually 4 because limitations.
Reuse assets.
Well, one of them is a reused asset, but I'm not going to say which one it is. Because again, avoiding spoilers.
Okay.
But it's not really like a reused asset. It's more like an extension of what the first island is. And again, the game was advertised to have 5 islands, but really there's only 4. But that's neither here nor there. I still think that the game is really fun. I think it's a really outstanding game for what it tries to do. And Moryo Kishimoto on Twitter was really transparent on what people think about the game and where they think the direction is going, and how he's been answering questions left, right, and center about people's concerns about the future of Sonic. And I do appreciate him being transparent, but there are things that probably should have been there at launch that we didn't get until update 2, which is the current version of Sonic Frontiers. Like, for example, the spin dash. It's actually like the most notorious thing that people talk about for Sonic ever since the advent of 3D and the absence of the adventure games, because we all know the adventure games because of you can use the spin dash in 3D and you're really fast, right?
Yeah.
We have not really had that basically since, and I'm kind of annoyed to say this, but we haven't really had a usable spin dash in a 3D Sonic game since the adventure games. Like, they actually recently just added the spin dash in. And it's mostly for momentum purposes, because if you use it, it kind of breaks the game. It's
Really?
kind of weird. Yeah, it kind of breaks the game because, again, like, the whole point of Update 2 was to provide momentum, which is like one complaint that everyone had about Frontiers. Basically, since the game launched, that Sonic felt very sluggish. He felt like he wasn't really going very fast, and that's kind of what Update 2 did. They provided the spin dash. They actually updated the movement physics, and now Sonic actually can just, if you go up a hill, Sonic just flies around. He just flies off in a spin dash. So I definitely think that's a really good quality of life update, and we're getting another update later on that's actually going to give us more story elements to what's going on with the Starfall Islands. But again, avoiding spoilers, because again, I could go into a whole rant about the story mode because I'm not that keen on it. But hey, that's just me.
Well, that's when you said a tangent, you really went on a tangent. But okay, from what I've heard from Frontiers, it's the story. Actually, the characters actually take themselves very seriously, which I have not seen that since Unleashed, which is great. Actually, great.
That is true. Yes, in Frontiers, everyone they reprise their roles, but they take it much seriously. Like we all know how with like modern Sonic, how Roger is always having like a more bubbly type of voice, right?
Yeah.
But here with Frontiers, it's way more serious, way more toned down. Like, it's actually down to earth, and with how the characters develop over the story, it's actually kind of reminiscent of Adventure 1, where everyone tries to come into their own and they try to have their own adventures and try to do things without Sonic. Like, they want to do things without their own. They don't want to rely on him anymore. So it's like they're all just growing up.
That's what I like to hear. That's definitely what I like to hear, because that era with Pontac and Graf in terms of writing style for the Sonic franchise, oh god, that was such a
It was bad.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Such a bad era, honestly. Well, we're gonna move on from Sonic Frontiers and talk about the Knuckles TV show.
There's a what?
Yeah, the Knuckles TV show.
Okay.
I honestly don't know what to expect from this show. They did get the hat from the animated Sonic movie, which is great.
Oh, that Knuckles TV show. I was like, was this announced on Twitter? Now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know what to expect either.
It's the movie Knuckles Sonic TV show.
Yeah, but honestly, so apparently Apparently, Idris Elba is going to reprise his role. Honestly, that announcement really surprised me because I was thinking like they're probably going to get a different actor to get Knuckles in
Like
this
they
show.
did in that short that came with the second movie.
Yeah, that's short. I thought they were going to get someone else because I was like, there's no way they're going to afford Idris Elba because I know the budget is going to decrease. But what I do expect, I do feel like Rouge is gonna show up at some point in this show. That's what that's how I that's my prediction. That's my only prediction, honestly.
I mean, if they're gonna set up the third Sonic film with this show, they might as well introduce some elements that'll be key to that.
Yeah.
I still need to watch the Sonic movies. I haven't done that yet.
For first one is mid. Second one is decent. Second one is decent.
Wow.
I mean, I think it's good, but the first one is indeed mid. We kind of need it
Honestly, the
more to
first
get the
one is
second film at
the
all.
first one's mid. The second one, there's a specific segment of it where I just got really bored. It mostly involves like humans in it and not really the main characters. But yeah, the second movie honestly is better than the first.
It is.
Hmm. Okay.
Honestly, you say they're going to introduce Rouge into the show. Honestly, I feel like if anyone should be introduced in the Knuckles show, it should be the Chaotix.
I definitely can understand and see why you would think the chaotic should be there.
But how would the Chaotix fit into the Sonic movie world or the lore itself? Because we all know that the Chaos Emeralds apparently formed the Master Emerald, which is kind of weird.
I
That's
don't
just because they wanted to simplify the mythology a little bit.
I don't see the Team Chaotix being in the movies anytime soon. And speaking of the
Team Chaotix was barely even in Sonic X. They're kind of just there as filler.
yeah.
Look, I really just want them to be in the show because I love them as characters and want them to have more screen time. But yeah, I don't really know much of a story reason as to why they should show up yet.
Well, let's move on to the our predictions for the third Sonic movie. So this is gonna all right. So I think this is gonna be a pretty big talking point because we don't even know what the hell is going on with this movie. We have no idea what the hell is going on here. So
I know a little bit.
Go to a different island.
yeah. So I think I think it's going to be heavily based on Sonic Adventure 2. They've already introduced.
They've already confirmed that.
Yeah, they've
And
already
both Sonic Adventure
introduced.
2 and Shadow the Hedgehog that'll be huge influences for the third movie.
Yeah,
from what I've heard.
and they also introduced Gun in Sonic 2. But I don't know what to expect from this. I do expect. I since I said I expect Rouge to be in the Knuckles TV show, I expect her to appear in the third movie. And a lot of people expect Amy to show up, which I'm like, no, I don't see that happening. How do you guys feel
If they're
about
going to
that?
adapt Sonic Adventure 2, I feel like they should, considering a major plot beat that happens in that game involving two characters.
All right, how about you, Phil?
Sonic 3 movie. Because we do know that Gun was introduced in the second movie.
Yep.
It's implied that it's going to take place, so it's going to have influence from Adventure 2. Amy showing up. I want to say no, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does show up in the movie. Because Amy is kind of an important character in the Sonic franchise, not just in the games, but in like all of media. Like Amy is just as important as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles combined. So I don't know.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like she would work pretty well thematically speaking. Like, think about this right now. Have you seen how Sonic's whole arc was going throughout the movies? And the first film was all about him, I guess, finding his family with the two he was living with. And the second movie is about him finding his friends in Knuckles and Tails. In the third movie, I feel like him getting a girlfriend at some point seems like the natural step in that.
But I feel like but one of the biggest issues is that in Sonic 2, Knuckles got all the development. Tails was they literally ignored Tails like 10 minutes after he appeared. And with Sonic 3, a lot of people's biggest fears is that they'll give all the development to Shadow and not Amy.
Well, I mean, to be
Yeah, that
fair,
is pretty
Shadow
tough.
is like the most popular Sonic character in the entirety of the franchise. He's literally the most popular character.
Yeah, and also Amy has
When-
really been pushed off as more of just a lover of Sonic and nothing more. Until the recent games, obviously, but other than that.
Well, yeah, I just also as for Evan saying that she has an important plot point in Sonic Adventure 2, I feel like I have a feeling they're gonna replace Amy with one of the human characters in Sonic Movie 3, the talking to Shadow.
But they're gonna give the speech to Shadow.
Yeah, I'm betting on that. It's gonna be one of the human characters.
Just
Probably-
don't be Chris
That's one of the
Thorndyke.
few ways I could think of to keep them, actually give them plot relevance, because most of the time the human characters are just there to make sure that the film isn't just.
That right there, that statement is the biggest example is in the Sonic 2 movie. In this one scene between there's one scene between like the previous scene and the last like climax of the movie itself. Like honestly, the humans in the second movie are just there. They didn't really have much to do other than for plot reasons to help out. But yeah, hopefully they don't get pushed off that much in the third movie, or if they are going to be on screen, let's just hope that they make it so they actually have a purpose and not just for plot reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is-
They're technically in less of the movie, but the scenes they are in have more focus on them, so it feels a lot longer.
I also really hope the music is better because the score in Sonic 1 and 2, they're terrible. They're basically non-existent. And it's very disappointing too because it's Junkie XL. What the fuck is he doing? I feel like he's in autopilot mode. Maybe it's just me. Because I have a huge fondness for movie scores. I that's the reason why Jurassic Park is memorable. That's the reason why Back to the Future is memorable. That's the reason why a lot of the Pixar films are memorable because of their movie scores. That's the reason why Star Wars is memorable. Dude, the Mario movie did that. The Mario movie did the stat. They got a really good score done by Brian Tyler. Why is the Sonic movie struggling on that?
I mean, they already struggled with the teaser trailer for the first Sonic movie by putting Gangster's Paradise, so I don't know what to tell you on that.
Oh yeah,
Let's just
yeah. That trigger was a top.
But let's just hope that in the Sonic 3 movie that the score itself is like a dedication to the Sonic game, Sonic Adventure 2, even the OG Sonic the Hedgehog, because I'm pretty sure Sonic 3 is probably going to be the last Sonic movie, or at least the last one with Jim Carrey in it, for all I know.
Oh, speaking of Jim Carrey, I do hope he does show up because I have a feeling that Gerald Robotnik is going to show up in Sonic Movie 3. I don't know about you guys. I have a feeling he's gonna show up. I have a feeling Gerald Robotnik is going to show up. If Gerald Robotnik is going to show up, Ivo Robotnik has to show up. Eggman has to show up. You can't have one or the other.
I don't know if Gerald's going to show up, considering there was a bit of leaked concept art for the third movie that showed his skeleton. So either he's going to show up via a flashback, or we're going to have just one scene where he's there and then just dies due to Shadow. I don't know.
Most likely a flashback, or it's probably going to be towards like the beginning of the movie where they told us a slight backstory of Shadow the Hedgehog, maybe. Or they might do, or what I'm thinking of how the Sonic movie 3 is going to turn out, is that there's obviously going to be the main story, but then as we see Shadow, they might have like some flashbacks of Shadow's past. That would be pretty cool, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, especially because it's been teased that Honestly, with how Shadow's going to be put into the third movie, I feel like maybe they shouldn't redeem him in there because that's kind of what they did with Knuckles in the second film.
Yeah, I don't know
be
how
a little
you could
bit too repetitive.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna try and redeem Shadow. I feel like he should be too far gone.
Or at the very least, not be redeemed in one movie.
Yeah, yeah. But speaking of Jim Carrey, he did said he's considering retirement, but he could return in Sonic Movie 3 if the script is good, at least in his standards.
Yeah, it's like how Jim Carrey just does not like to do sequels most of the time because doesn't really have much of a character. Just getting one sequel out of him for the Sonic films is already kind of a godsend.
Yeah, honestly.
Here are my stances on this. If this was his very last movie and he stops here, good sport, man. You got a lot of great stuff for the movie making industry, and off on this movie is a pretty good touch.
Honestly.
If this isn't his last movie, he does have at least one more film in him, then okay, we start off in the first film with the guy in the black business suit and the small mustache. And then the second film, we add a little bit more red to his costume with the wild mustache. In the third film, I feel like we need to try to put him in the fat suit for this one last film.
They did tease the fat Eggman in the second movie, and Jim Carrey himself said that he wished that he actually can play the fat Eggman.
Yeah, I noticed that in the movie too, but I'm pretty sure everyone ignored that because there was the French maid costume right next to it.
Yeah. I wonder how that's gonna work.
That was the thing everyone decided to focus on.
Well, honestly, who do y'all think? Who do y'all think is gonna voice Shadow? I'm putting my bets on John Bernthal. How about you, Evan?
There are two choices right now that I hold in equally high regard for this one: either Keanu Reeves or Robert Pattinson.
Good choices. How about you, Carbs?
So I haven't really done research on who's going to be the voice of Shadow the Hedgehog, but hearing Robert Pattinson or Keanu Reeves, that might work out. But in all honesty, whoever does voice Shadow is probably going to be a famous celebrity or almost up to fame celebrity. They did get Idris Elba, or they might even, I mean, who knows? I'm just throwing it out that maybe they get the Sonic Adventure 2 Shadow the Hedgehog voice actor to come back.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I don't think that's going to happen, especially with Shadow being probably one of the big focuses of this movie. They're going to get celebrity voice for him.
All right. What about you, Buster? Who do you think is gonna voice Shadow?
I'm not really the person you would ask about like who's going to voice who. That's not really what I look for in media. I look for do they do the voice well and am I entertained. I don't really look at who voices what. That's not really why I watch a movie. I like when I watch movies. The last thing that's on my mind are the actors. I mean, is it cool that people know about like this person voiced or acted as this person in this movie? Yeah, I think it's cool. That's not why I watch movies though. So I'm not the person you should be asking that. That's not really my prerogative. That's not my opinion. I'm just hoping that the voice of Shadow is just good.
Interesting.
That's fair.
Yeah, that is fair. Totally fair. So should Amy be in the movie? In terms of who I think is gonna voice her, I think it's gonna be Anna Kendrick. How about you, Evan?
That's a pretty good choice. I mean, I was thinking maybe Jenny Slate because she already has really good chemistry with Ben Schwartz. So,
all right, and you, Carbs?
Yeah, the voice actress for Amy. Oh, shoot, I don't even know. Anna Kendrick does seem fitting for the voice, and Jenny Slate. I mean, I love what she does, but honestly, if I had to hear a lot of her for Amy, I might get a little annoyed. But Anna Kendrick has played a lot of Pink characters recently, so that would be fitting.
Yep. So yeah, I think we can all agree that Sonic Movie 3 is going to be the darkest one in the trilogy. I don't know if we're. I don't know. If
I don't know about all that, man. If I see blood, I don't care.
I mean, I mean, they got away with a lot of they got away with a lot of stuff in Speed Racer and Mutant Mayhem. So I won't be surprised if we see actual blood.
Mm,
Uh,
sure.
so and then the last thing we're going to talk about is the new upcoming Sonic game, Sonic Superstars. So for all right, so I don't think this game in particular was leaked, and I'm so happy it did not because oh my god, this came out of nowhere. It looks great, honestly. It looks great, and the fact that we're playing and the fact that it's multiplayer, it's that is godsend, absolute godsend. Yes, we actually do need that. It's Sonic's answer to New Super Mario Brothers Wii, Rayman Origins, and Kirby's Return to Dreamland. And we need more platformers like this. If if we get more thankfully not only Sonic Superstars is doing that, but Mario Wonder is also doing the four player multiplayer as well. There, I'm hoping that's the new standard for 2D platformers going forward. Honestly, how do you feel about the Sonic Superstar so far, Evan? All right, I'll get back to you. How about you, Carbs?
Sonic Superstars. Honestly, I'm kind of excited for the game itself. It does look pretty fun. It kind of reminds me of just the classic 2D Sonic games, but just in 3D. And honestly, it kind of gives it off as a remastered version of the old Sonic games, making it more modern, more appealing to the younger, new generation audience members. And it's also a great memorabilia to the older Sonic audience. And honestly, yeah, I'm kind of excited for it. It does have the Sonic Mania vibes to it as well because of the classic looks of the characters themselves. And hey, look, Amy Rose has finally joined the group of three.
Yep. She finally joined. She finally joins the Sonic Squad now.
I just have one thing to say about this right now.
All right.
This is straight up just going to be Sonic's Return to Dreamland.
Yep. Exactly. How do you feel about Sonic Superstar so far, Evan?
It does look pretty good, but I'm not sure about it right now. Because I feel like we're getting a bit too much in terms of classic Sonic stuff.
As long as the games are good, I don't fucking care. I mean, Sonic Mania is literally my favorite Sonic game of all. It's literally the best 2D. It's literally the best 2D Sonic game, if I'm being honest. So if we get more of that stuff, I'm all for it. As long as they're good. It's that's just my taste.
That's entirely. I just feel like sometimes there can be too much here, and I don't want that to just become stale right now.
That's fair. That's fair. How about you, Basu? How are you feeling about Sonic Superstars?
I kind of share the same sentiment with Evan. I feel like Sega is just kind of milking classic Sonic for all he's worth now because everyone's opinion on Sonic is mostly derived on nostalgia and how he used to be in the classics. So Sega's now like, okay, you guys want classic Sonic? We'll give you classic Sonic. We've had so many classic Sonic games. We've had Sonic Mania, which honestly felt like the actual true return to classic Sonic. Then we had the Sonic Origins collection, which I don't want to get into that, but I mean it's just more classic Sonic. And now we have Sonic Superstars. I kind of feel like they're just milking classic Sonic for all he's worth and not really making anything unique. It's just appealing to the people that only like Sonic for the nostalgia. I mean, like the way I see it, if you liked Mania, you're gonna like Superstars. But me, I'm kind of just classic Sonic out. I'm kind of classic out. I kind of want something new, something fresh. And Superstars, I mean, I'll try it, but I'm not gonna say I'm gonna, like say it's like a 10 out of 10. I mean, like again, like I enjoyed Mania. Is it my favorite Sonic game? No, my favorite Sonic game it is and always will be Sonic 2. Sonic 2 is, in my opinion, peak Sonic, and you can argue about that. I rate it higher than 3 and Knuckles. Fight me on that. I do not care. It's better than Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But that's just my opinion.
Don't worry, I won't fight you on that.
You can fight me on it if you want. I don't care. It's my opinion. But I just think that Sega really is kind of just milking classic for all he's worth at this point. Kind of like how they milked the Boost formula ever since the Rush games. They're just kind of just using what works until people get sick of it. So if people end up getting sick of Classic Sonic, well, we all know who to blame.
I feel like the reason why they keep milking Classic Sonic is because his 3D outings before Frontiers were they weren't good. So let's just put it that way. Sonic Lost World, I like the game, but it's very divisive. Uh, Sonic Colors, a game that I used to like, but it has not aged very well, in my opinion. Sonic Boom is an absolute travesty. Forces is more of what could have been. It is an absolute disappointment.
I mean, yeah, I understand that sentiment. Like 3 Sonic hasn't really been great over the years. I mean, again, like you said, like Lost World, I think it's underrated. Colors definitely has not aged well, at least in terms of writing. In terms of gameplay, it depends on who you ask. Because I mean, for me, I still like Colors gameplay, even though it's more 2D than 3D. I mean, I still like Colors gameplay. The writing is what really kills the game for me, and why I don't really revisit it. Boom, literally no one wants to talk about Boom at all. Like name one person that says, "Hey, I like Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric." Yeah, they're lying. And Forces, yeah, like Forces is literally just what could have been, because I mean, Forces was just kind of thrown off of hype because they advertised this as by the people who made Sonic Colors and Sonic Generation. So it's like we all thought it was going to be the next best thing, and then it came out, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's just another game to add to the pile of bad game design.
Yeah, it makes it worse too because
I
it
do
forces
sort of agree
literally
with some of these.
it literally makes Forces look worse too because it literally came out months after Mania, which people at the time were considering Mania to be the best Sonic game in a very long time. Yeah,
And that still stands true today. People still think that Mania is the best Sonic game out right now, like even better than Frontiers. And again, like I like Frontiers. I'm still actively playing Frontiers with every update, but I don't think it's better than Mania. I still think, as it stands right now, objectively speaking, Sonic Mania is the best Sonic game that we have gotten ever since the adventure games.
Yep.
And that's including Unleashed. Trust me, like I know people are gonna get pissed saying, "Oh, but you can't talk trash about Unleashed, man. Unleashed is actually good." Yeah, we all know Unleashed is good, but let's be honest, man. When the game came out, it was the most divisive Sonic game, and then Lost World came out.
Yeah, yeah. For those of you that are saying like what Sonic Unleashed was always good, no, y'all were too young. Y'all are too young to know to be aware of the internet. Yeah, that game was super fucking divisive. It was so divisive. People were the only thing people were praising on what people when people were talking about Sonic Unleashed at the time, people were mainly praising the daytime stages. The nighttime stages, oh boy, I remember it. I remember the nighttime stages getting shit on the fucking daily. Maybe Boston would know this. We're basically the same age.
Not only do I know this, I mean, I have both versions of Unleashed. I have the Wii version and the 360 version, so I
Same.
played both ends. And yeah, like the night stages, they go on for a while, especially on the Wii version, because I had to go through at least 2 GameCube controllers just to finish Eggman Land. Ugh.
Oh gosh, Eggman Land, man.
Yeah, it's pain in both versions.
In both versions, I mean, the Wii version is easier, but it takes longer. The 360 version is an actual test of skill.
Yep. I don't even
Okay, the 360 versus a test of skill, the Wii versus a test of patience.
Truly a test of patience.
It really is, man. Like
it took forever to beat those levels. Man, I remember playing Sonic Unleashed on the Wii just because that was the only system I ever had. And the nighttime stages took me forever to beat. I remember being stuck on one night on one of the night levels for a whole day, and I couldn't even beat that.
Was it Shamar?
So how I was first introduced to Sonic Unleashed, I didn't even know about it until my cousin was playing the nighttime stages. And I was like, wait, that's Sonic, right? What the? Why is he a different? Why is he a different animal?
Why is
But
he a werewolf?
yeah, yeah. So
What in the Twilight?
I remember playing the first I remember only going through the first boss of the game because I remember my cousin, he needed help, and I didn't know what to do at the time. I think I was in fourth or fifth grade when that game was when my cousin had the 360 and that game. But yeah, I got to the controls and yeah, I got my ass whooped, and I didn't know what to do. There was, and I remember there being quick time events, and I was like, what the fuck? What is this? Yeah. So basically, that was tech. Sonic Unleashed was technically speaking my first hack and slash game, if you want to call it that.
No, we never should have a discussion.
That.
We never should have like a podcast on everyone's thoughts about hack and slash games. Oh, we would have a lot to talk about for that.
I am not familiar with I'm not that familiar with hack and slash games. I have gone through the first Devil May Cry game and the first Bayonetta game and the first Ninja Gaiden game, but I have not finished them because for Devil May Cry, I don't know I don't know. Bayonetta, the first Bayonetta, I don't know. Ninja Gaiden. Oh my god, that game is so fucking hard. Good fucking god. It is not. That game is not for the faint of heart. So
yeah, like back to Unleash with the whole Werehog thing. I mean, I'm going to assume that Nintendo or whoever was the higher up there was definitely on their Twilight arc, because I just looked up the release windows between Twilight Princess and Unleashed, and I'm like, man, kind of a coincidence that we have two games that involve transforming into a wolf during a certain time period, and they're both in the Wii.
What are the odds?
That makes you think, doesn't it?
I think it's more just they wanted a gimmick for the game that they thought would be kind of cool and thought,
kind of makes you think, doesn't it?
What should we do? Oh, let's make Sonic into a werewolf with stretchy arms.
See, like for me, I didn't have an issue with the werehog as like a concept. My issue was the stretchy arms. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna throw in, we're throwing some Devil May Cry in here. We're also gonna throw in some Spider-Man. It's like, what is this?
You mean God of War?
No, Devil May Cry.
I don't know where the Spider-Man came from. Are you talking about Spider-Man 2 in particular?
Because he has stretchy arms. That's why I say Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Well, he never used it for that much in the game. Like all the stuff where you see him in cutscenes swinging around sometimes.
He literally only used it like for like 3 cutscenes, and then was like, okay, cool.
It just kind of grab a ledge here, shimmy up some holes there. I don't know. It's not like an actual Spider-Man game like Web of Shadows, where you constantly have to keep swinging around stuff.
I will say this, though. Sonic Unleashed did have the most media output, like, based on a game. I mean, do you even remember how many shorts of Sonic Unleashed there were, like, based off of just Sonic and Chip and stuff?
The thing about those shorts is that the thing about those shorts is that those shorts weren't released just on YouTube. Those are actually in the game.
Right, but there's also that one, like, mini movie. The Sonic and like Night of the Living Werewolf.
Wasn't the one with the ghosts?
That was the one with the ghosts.
I watched that one. I was cringing when I saw it. Oh my god! It was so corny.
I didn't know what to think of when I first saw that. I was like, wait, is this only on YouTube? Why am I seeing this just now? Is this not on the? What is this based on? Is this not on Sonic Unleashed? Is this a trailer? I don't understand.
No, it was definitely just an animated short.
Yeah, it was just based off of just Sonic Unleashed things, like just the Werehog and Chip and Sonic, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, it's just short, just to, I guess you could say, make an ad for the game itself, or just.
I mean, it wasn't an ad for the game, but the way they went about it was so corny. Like they had these 2 ghosts that were down bad for a female ghost, and all they needed to do was just get a picture of Sonic in his werehog form. It's like, bruh.
Look, your enjoyment of that short entirely going to depend on your cheese tolerance. I swim in that shit, so of course I actually really like the short.
Of course you do, Evan. Of course.
Of course you do. but yeah. And then and then continuing that rough transition into 3D.
Oh, great! Journalist number 5,485.
Yep. but seriously though, I after I discovered Sonic Mega Collection, I remember my mom buying Sonic Adventure DX. I didn't know what to do. I was 5 years old. Keep in mind, I didn't know what to do, so I kept dying a lot. So I did some pretty stupid shit. So, but looking back at it, it really did set the groundwork for future 3D titles. I mean, it is the first full-fledged 3D Sonic game. Sonic Jam doesn't count, but but yeah, I don't think the game is I don't think the game in particular is good. Maybe it's because I played the inferior version of Sonic Adventure. I've never played the Dreamcast version, by the way. So yeah, that I think that's how I felt.
Hmm.
I got Heroes like not too long ago. I also kept dying, but
I have a
the
bone to pick with Heroes, honestly.
yeah, no. Like as I got older, no. Here's my thoughts on Heroes. Fuck Sonic Heroes. All my fucking homies hate Sonic Heroes.
I hate Sonic Heroes. I'm one of your homies.
Oh man.
Fucking
You
hell.
know, honestly, on the topic of Sonic, like, what is one enemy from any Sonic game that outright makes you terrified or frustrated? Because
It's
for me,
no use.
okay, besides Silver, because we all know it's a meme. Okay, besides Silver,
You only hear it that many times if you don't know how the fight works.
here's the thing. I know how that fight works, and I also know how to break that fight because there is a way to just outright leave the fight, and it's actually kind of hilarious.
I was
Or we
on
just send
that
you to
fight for 30 minutes.
It took you how long?
I was on that fight for 30 minutes.
How are you on a fight that should be over in 2 minutes in there for 13?
He said 30.
Because
He said
Sonic
30?
yeah, because
You were
Sonic
in you were
is a
on
terrible game.
boss fight for 30 minutes? How?
That is what I want to know too. That is what I want to know myself too. Like
Oh my gosh.
someone at Sonic Team thought that was good game design. Someone at Sonic Team thought that was good game design. What the fuck?
I mean, anyway, for me, like, any enemy that annoys has me, like, terrified. It's between the Sonic 2 slicers, if you play Metropolis Zone, you know what I'm
Yes,
talking about,
yes.
and the ghosts from Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah.
I replayed Sonic Adventure 2. To this day, those ghosts still scare me. I'm turning 25 soon.
They don't.
Those ghosts still scare me.
Maybe
I
it's
don't know how.
maybe it's because you had the game since you were young. I actually didn't get Sonic Adventure 2 until I was like near near the ending, near when I was almost finishing high school. So they didn't do much for me. They didn't scare me that much personally.
Yeah, I mean, they still scare me. I mean, again, like, I didn't own Adventure 2. I just played it a lot at my cousin's house every weekend.
Uh,
So, yeah, I still hate those ghosts.
yeah, yeah. So as you can see, and then I got onto Sonic Rush. Yeah, I do remember being stuck on the last stage of the game and the boss of the game. Because I remember you had to repeatedly press the A and B button so many times on that specific boss. I don't know if you guys still remember that.
Are you talking about the one where you fight Blaze?
No. Maybe it is Blaze, but it's one of those Eggman bosses. No, I think it is Blaze.
You mean the Egg King?
Yeah, Egg King. Yeah, I
That
remember.
was the giant one that didn't have to slam you into the platform, but he shoots out
I
electric.
mean, I didn't really play Rush. I mostly played Rush Adventure. So, I don't really have an opinion on that.
Yeah, and I remember struggling on getting the last Chaos Emerald. Oh my god! I mean, it's still better than what Heroes did, but still, it was a struggle.
If you were smart, you got all the emeralds as Team Rose, but okay.
Dude, just because I use Team Rose does not mean the way they designed the special stages in Heroes wasn't good game design. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. But honestly, going back to Rush right now, I did have some trouble with the special stages, but honestly, there's some of the easier ones put in Sonic games now.
Yeah,
because
honestly,
you do have very precise control with the touchscreen.
Yeah, but yeah, you have complete control on Sonic, in the special stages for Sonic Rush, which I greatly appreciated. But yeah, that doesn't mean that they were easy. They were super difficult to get through. But I and then and then I got and then I remember getting Sonic and the Secret Rings. I actually do remember enjoying myself playing that game because of the way the game was presented, the way the game was the way the and the music too. I really like. I still like the music. I know the music is for the Secret Rings is kind of divisive because they played Seven Rings in Hand way too much, but I still really like the
Yeah, it's a
soundtrack.
good song, but no.
Yeah, but looking back
Yeah,
at Secret
yeah.
Rings
Honestly,
now,
yeah,
look,
yeah. A fun fact about me: Seven Rings in Hand is actually my least favorite track in all of Sonic. Like literally, like I would not hate it as much if I didn't play Secret Rings.
I haven't not gone through. I haven't played Secret Rings in years. I do not plan on going back to it because I don't know
Wait,
why.
what was the main plot? What was the main plot of Secret Rings? Unless I'm confusing it with like, is it that? Wait, isn't Secret Rings the game with the genie in it where he has to make a wish?
Yeah, it's that
Yeah,
one.
That's how some games appears to
Oh,
and they
that game. Yeah,
a
I
little
don't
bit.
even think I've played that game, and even if I did, I think I rented it at like a Redbox and tried it out for a bit, and then I just got bored, honestly.
the
I mean, it's not really. I mean, it's not that great of a Sonic game.
I fuck. Me personally, I don't know why, but I remember struggling through a stage when I was a kid. I remember thinking, "This is so hard." And now, no, these controls are fucking horseshit. Someone at Sega thought those controls are a good idea. Someone at Sega thought those controls are a good idea. Like, what the fuck? In order for you
Again, it's the
to
same.
in order for you to accelerate, you have to turn the Wii remote at a specific angle, and you don't. And oh my god, someone actually thought.
Actually, Darwin, that's actually not the case because again, you guys actually did see me playing Secret Rings earlier last year, and actually, to accelerate, you don't hold the Wiimote in a certain direction. The game is actually on rails,
Really?
but you have to hold the Wiimote back to go backwards.
Yeah, it's kind of like Temple Run or the Sonic Rush game.
Yeah.
Well, not Sonic Rush, Sonic Dash.
Yeah, but again, like Secret Rings is completely on rails. Like you don't really have much control over Sonic.
Yep. Honestly, like, yeah, I just hope that the fan base doesn't, talk shit about us because,
I mean, they probably will. I mean, like again, like I mean, who's really going to see this video? That's number one. And number two, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I mean, hell, I actually think that Secret Rings is a good game, but it's only good if you're willing to put in the time because it's one of those trust me, it gets better type of games.
maybe, but I still like but I still like the soundtrack. That is the one thing that every Sonic game requires a good soundtrack, which is something Forces somehow failed to do.
Okay, Darwin, I think you're kind of blowing that one a bit out of proportion because even for
Yeah,
me,
that was not.
I still think Forces does have good music, like Aqua Road and all that. But the thing is that like if you're only good, if you're only like redeeming quality as a Sonic game is the music, you still fail as a Sonic game.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, the Sonic game is good music. Oh, the sky's blue. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. I do agree with you. I do agree with what Boss was saying. I'm looking at you, Sonic 06. Fucking kill.
Sonic 06 is a bad game, but it has good music. Therefore, it's
Yep.
still a bad Sonic game. Haha.
The last time I played it was I was going through Flame Core as Sonic. Fucking kill me.
Rework the
Flame Core is
gameplay
not
all
even
you
that
want.
bad, bro. What?
Yeah. And I remember the last time I played it, I was playing as Knuckles. It didn't exactly get.
Oh no! I know the clip. It was Game Grumps.
Oh no!
It was Game Grumps. They got to
Oh,
Knuckles.
no.
He got stuck on the wall.
Yep.
You want me to pull up the clip? I have it on standby.
I don't think we can play it. I don't think we can play it without him getting copyrighted. I don't think we could play it.
Dude,
Fair enough, but I have the link
popular
anyway.
enough to get a copyright claim.
But he can send a copyright strike.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well,
Everyone knows about the clip. Anyways, come on, we all know about the clip.
Yep. I
know.
I think everyone knows the clip about Eagle Raptor destroying Sonic 06.
But which one?
The Eagle Raptor destroyed Sonic 06 at like a certain convention. I think it was MacFest.
Like he actually broke the disc?
Yeah, he broke the disc.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Oh god. That's still like that's still like my favorite game involving Sonic 06.
Oh,
and I also
found
remember
it. I found the clip.
And I also remember people chanting USA, USA, USA. And I was like, what the fuck does that have to do with Eagle Raptor destroyed Sonic 06? Maybe it's because he's American, but that's no correlation to Sonic, but okay. But anyways, I think that I think that does it for our discussion with Sonic. Yeah, I know that the last 15 or 20 minutes of the game we were just rambling about it, but hey, that's because we love the Bluebird so much, and we love.
I don't love the Bluebird. I want him to fail. I'm a Mario fan. What are you talking about?
But yeah.
Have you know that my character Yahoo is way more impressive than your character going, that's no good.
That's no good.
He hears the Mega Man fan in the corner.
Who?
I'm sorry.
That's about what I expected.
I love the Blue Bomber too, but seriously. But
yeah,
anyway.
This is about the Bluebird. This is about Sonic, aka the guy that kind of made us who we are.
AKA the first video game character to have a balloon in the Macy's Day Parade.
Oh yeah, shoot! I didn't even remember that.
I don't want to talk about that parade, bro.
But dude, you weren't even alive when that happened, unless you're talking about the generation.
But I saw the footage. The footage is still alive.
Yep.
The historical event.
Yep, it was definitely a historical event.
It was a time.
Yep, the Sonic Mania was too much. Well, that sounds about does it. And I'm gonna share some of my friends, and to end it off, I'm gonna end it off with share some of my friends' socials. So starting off with you, Reverend Evan, where can people find you?
You can find me on my Discord server if you have the link, on my YouTube channel that not many people really know about, and not really much else because I don't tend to use that much social media out of, well, not really having much of a use for it.
All right. And you, Carbs, where can people find you?
You can find me at Nova Anando. You can also find me on Instagram at ERCKY05. You can also find me in pretty much just anywhere around the Fairfax area. I'm going to give you my specific location. It's at your mom's house.
Get bodied. Get bodied.
That is the based, honestly. And how about you, Bossu? Where can people find you?
You can find me at on Twitter with my tag or my handle as at it's Basu _. You can find me on Discord. It's just Basu _. And yeah, that's about it. I don't really use them often, but when I do, mostly just replying to people or sharing some memes.
All right, that sounds about does it for the lot of us. And for as for me, you can find me on my Instagram, Backlogged and Letterbox. And if you want to, you can also join my Discord server. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And if you like this video. And if you don't like this video, dislike this video. But anyhow, let us share your thoughts on the Sonic franchise down in the description down below. And I'll see you guys next time.